Hey there, welcome back to English and Ease. I'm Emily, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. If you've ever said to yourself, I want to sound like a native speaker, you're definitely not alone. That dream of speaking English fast, clearly, and naturally, it's something almost every learner thinks about at some point. But here's the truth. It's not just about talking quickly. In fact, many learners struggle when they try to speak fast. Some speak too slowly and feel frustrated. Others try to go fast but lose clarity. And then there are those who sound unnatural because they're thinking too hard about every single word, about grammar, pronunciation, or the perfect sentence. Sound familiar? Don't worry. Today, we're going to talk through all of this. Together, we'll break down how to speak faster and still be clear. We'll go over how to sound real, not like a textbook, but like a real person having a real conversation. I'll also share some small daily exercises you can try and, of course, lots of encouragement to help you feel confident. So, if you're someone who wants to improve your fluency and sound more natural in English conversations, this episode is for you. Let's dive right in. Now, let's be honest. One of the biggest struggles English learners face is understanding fast, everyday English, and when you can't hear it clearly, it's even harder to speak it. Why is that? Well, let's look at how most people start learning English. In school, the English you learn is often slow, clear, and sometimes overly formal. You probably learned how to say, "How are you?" with every word separated, clearly pronounced, and delivered at a slow pace. But what do native speakers actually say? They say things like, "How you doin'?" or "How are you?" The words are blended together. Sounds are dropped, and they say it fast. So when you first hear that kind of English in real life, it feels like you're listening to a completely different language. Another reason is lack of real-world exposure. Many learners study English through grammar books or vocabulary lists. That's great in the beginning, but later, it becomes a problem. If you've never trained your ears with fast speech, it's like trying to run before you've learned how to walk on uneven ground. Also, let's talk about fear. So many English learners are afraid of making mistakes. So what do? They slow down their speech, they pause too much, or they overthink every sentence. And that's when English starts to feel more like a performance than a conversation. But real English isn't perfect. I mean, just think about it. Even native speakers pause, use filler words, or say things that aren't grammatically perfect. And they keep talking. Because for them, communication is more about flow than perfection. So if you've ever felt discouraged because you speak slowly or because you don't understand fast English, I want you to know, you're not broken. You're just learning. And there's a better way to train. Not harder, just smarter. Let's take the first step together by talking about the idea of speaking fast. Should you even try to speak fast in English? Well, here's my honest answer. Yes and no. Sounds confusing? Let me explain. Speaking quickly can help you sound more fluent. It helps your words flow together. But if you speak fast without control, it becomes a mess. People won't understand you. So the goal isn't just speed, it's natural speed that still sounds clear and confident. Let me show you what I mean. Listen to this sentence. I am going to go to the store. Now, let's say it again, but a bit faster and more naturally. I'm gonna go to the store. Hear the difference? It's faster, yes, but it's also smoother. It sounds more relaxed and conversational. Gonna is a contraction native speakers use all the time, so we're not just speaking faster, we're speaking real. And that's the secret. Learning to speak fast isn't about rushing, it's about learning the rhythm of English, the way words connect, the patterns we use, and the stress we naturally give certain parts of a sentence. So here's my advice for you. Start slow. I know that might sound strange, but if you're still building your confidence, it's better to focus on being clear first. Make sure you're saying the words correctly. Make sure your pronunciation is solid. Then, once you feel comfortable, slowly increase your speed. It's just like learning a song. First, you learn it note by note, maybe even off key. And then, once you know it well, you start to sing it faster, with feeling, with confidence, and maybe even with a little smile. So here's a simple rule I like to share with my students. Speak clearly first, then build speed, because speed without clarity is noise, but clarity with rhythm, that's fluency. Let me give you one more example. Say this slowly. Can you help me with this? Now say it faster. Can you help me with this? Sounds more natural, right? If you're not ready for that yet, don't worry. That's what this podcast is here for. I'll help you every step of the way. So now that we've talked about speed, let's move on to something just as important. Clarity. What does it really mean to speak clearly in English? A lot of people think it means speaking slowly. But that's not quite right. You don't need to speak slowly to be understood. You need to speak clearly. Speaking clearly means your sounds are accurate, your words are pronounced well, and your rhythm is natural. And just as importantly, it means sounding human. Let me show you what I mean. Listen to this. I am going to the store. If you pronounce every word perfectly and slowly, it might sound like this. I am going to the store. Technically correct? Sure. Natural? Not really. That sounds like a robot reading from a textbook. And we're not robots. We're people. Real people who talk with feeling, flow, and expression. So here's a better way. I'm going to the store. Same sentence, but it sounds like how someone would actually say it in a conversation. So how do you get there? The first step is practicing English sounds that might not exist in your native language. For example, words like this, think, or then. If you don't practice these, it's easy to get confused, or for your listener to get confused. The second step is mastering word stress and intonation. English has a rhythm, and we don't stress every word the same. Some words are key, others are just background. For example, I'm going to the store. We stress store because it's the important part of the message. I'm not going to the bank or the park. I'm going to the store. And the third step? Pay attention to word endings. This is huge. Many learners drop the final S or ed sounds, like saying walk instead of walked. But that little ending changes the whole meaning. So don't forget it. Now that we've talked about what it means to speak clearly, let's make one thing super clear. Clarity doesn't mean you have to pronounce every single word like a dictionary. In fact, doing that can actually make you sound less natural. A lot of learners try to pronounce every syllable perfectly, but they end up sounding flat or robotic. So what's the better way? Speak with natural rhythm. Think of English like music. It has beats, stress, and flow. Native speakers stretch some words and swallow others. That's totally normal. That's what makes it sound alive. Here's a fun tip you can try right now. Speak in chunks, not word by word. Let's try this together. Instead of, I want to grab some my coffee. Say, want to grab some coffee? That's smoother, more relaxed, still clear, but much more natural. When you speak in chunks, your brain starts thinking in ideas, not just grammar. You're not translating word for word. You're communicating, and that's what real English is about. Now, let's talk about a few technical things you can start doing to boost clarity. 1. Practice the sounds that are hard for you. You know your weak spots. Maybe it's the sounds like in thing or this. Maybe it's confusing R and L or V and W. That's okay. Start there. Break those sounds down, repeat them, and get comfortable saying them in real words. Try saying this, that, those, them. Think, thought, thank, thumb. Do it slowly at first, then faster. Train your mouth like a muscle. 2. Use recording as your best friend. Seriously, this one helps so much. Use your phone, hit record, and just speak. Read a short sentence or talk about your day. Then listen back. Ask yourself, do I sound clear? Would a native speaker understand me? You can even compare yourself to a native speaker. Try repeating a line from a movie or podcast. Record yourself. Play it back. Where are you different? That's what you work on. 3. Ask for feedback. If you have friends, teachers, or even language exchange partners, ask them to tell you when they don't understand. It's not embarrassing. It's powerful. It helps you grow faster. Sometimes the problem is simple. Maybe you're not opening your mouth enough when you speak, or maybe your endings are too soft. Small changes can make a huge difference. 4. Use facial expression and emotion. Clear speech isn't just about your mouth. It's also about your face, your energy, and your intention. When you say something like, "That's amazing," say it like you mean it. Use your eyebrows. Smile. Put your voice behind your words. The more emotion you bring, the more natural and clear you'll sound. And again, clarity doesn't mean robotic speech. You can speak naturally and be understood. Let's do a few quick comparisons. Robotic. I am going to the store. Natural. I'm going to the store. Robotic. I do. Not. No natural. I don't know. Or even, dunno. See how that works? The natural version is still clear, but it flows with emotion and rhythm. So far, we've talked about speed and clarity, but now let's move into one of the most exciting parts of English speaking, real English. What is real English? Exactly. It's the English you hear in movies, in cafes, on the street, or during a Zoom call with friends. It's the English people actually use, not the perfect polished stuff from your grammar book. It includes idiom, slang, contractions, connected speech, everyday expressions. Let's go through a few examples. You probably learned, I am going to do it. But in real life, you'll hear, I'm gonna do it. Or, I'll do it. Sometimes even, gonna do it. Here's another one, I do not know. That becomes, I don't know. And sometimes, dunno. It's not wrong. It's real. It's how people actually talk when they're comfortable. Here's where it gets even more interesting. In real English, we often link words together. We don't pause between every word. We connect the sounds. For example, what do you want to eat? Becomes, what do you want to eat? This is called connected speech, and it's one of the hardest parts of listening for learners. But once you understand it, it can become one of your superpowers. So how can you train yourself to speak real English? First, listen to real people. Movies, podcasts, vlogs, anything with real, unscripted dialogue. Listen for patterns. Notice how people link words. Notice the emotion in their voices, even the pauses. Second, copy real people. Find a line you like, replay it, then repeat it exactly. Try to match their tone, their speed, their feeling. This is called shadowing, and we'll talk more about it in the next part. Third, use contractions. Stop saying I am all the time. Say I'm. Stop saying do not. Say don't. These tiny changes make a big difference in how natural you sound. And finally, don't be afraid to be yourself. Speaking real English is not about acting or pretending to be someone else. It's about letting your personality show, using everyday language to connect with others. For example, if someone asks you, "Are you coming?" you could say, "Yes, technically correct," or "Yeah, totally," more natural, or "For sure," real, emotional, conversational. That energy, that ease, that's what makes your English come alive. So now, let's quickly recap what we've covered so far. Speed is important, but only after clarity. Clarity means natural rhythm, Good pronunciation and sounding like a person, not a textbook. Real English is what people use every day, full of contractions, linking, and feeling. And remember this, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be understood. Now, before we wrap this part up, let's talk about some common mistakes learners make when trying to speak fast, clear, and real, and how to fix them. Mistake number 1. Speaking too slowly out of fear. You want to be understood, so you slow down too much. But this can make conversations feel awkward or robotic. Fix. Find a comfortable middle speed. Don't rush, but don't overthink. Let your words flow. Mistake number 2. Speaking too fast and losing clarity. Some learners try to sound fluent by speeding up too soon, but if people can't understand you, it doesn't help. Fix. Build speed slowly. Focus on good pronunciation first. Record yourself and listen for clarity. Mistake number 3. Overthinking grammar. You try to get every sentence right, but that slows you down and makes you nervous. Fix. Focus on meaning, not perfection. You're allowed to make mistakes. Communication comes first. Mistake number 4. Only practicing textbook English. You're great at grammar exercises, but real conversations feel overwhelming. Fix. Add real-world practice. Watch shows, listen to real people, join conversations. Immerse yourself. Mistake number 5. Being afraid to make mistakes. This one's big. You hold back, you doubt yourself, you stay silent. Fix. Change your mindset. Mistakes are not failure. They're signs that you're growing. You've already come so far. Keep going. So now that we've talked about the what, speaking fast, speaking clearly, and speaking real, let's get into the how. Because here's the truth. All the knowledge in the world won't help if you don't train the right way. Speaking naturally in English is a skill, and just like any other skill, it needs consistent practice. Not perfect practice, but smart practice. Let's begin with one of the most powerful tools I recommend to all my learners, shadowing. What is shadowing? Shadowing means you listen to a native speaker, maybe from a podcast, movie, or YouTube video, and repeat what they say in real time. You try to match their pronunciation, speed, rhythm, and even emotion. You literally shadow their voice. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly effective. It trains your ears, your mouth, and your brain to work together in real-time English. Let's do a quick example. You hear, "I'm heading out now." Want to come? You pause and say, "I'm heading out now." Want to come? Now try it again without pausing, just a second behind the speaker. That's shadowing. Start small. Choose one sentence. Then try a short dialogue. The more you do it, the more natural it will feel. And here's a tip. Don't just copy the words, copy the attitude. If the speaker sounds excited, be excited. If they sound chill, relax your voice. That's what makes your English come alive. Technique number 2. Record and reflect. You've heard me say this before, but it's worth repeating. Recording yourself is one of the best ways to track your progress. Try this today. Record yourself reading a short script or talking about your day for 30 seconds. Then play it back. Notice, are your words clear? Are you speaking in natural chunks? Do you sound smooth or choppy? You can even play your voice next to a native speaker's version. Listen for differences. That's not to judge yourself. It's to learn. Every time you record, you become a little more aware, and awareness leads to growth. Technique number 3. Practice linking and contractions. One of the reasons native English sounds fast is because we link words together and use a lot of contractions. We don't say, "I am going to do it." We say, "I'm going to do it." That's natural. That's real. So take a sentence and break it down like this. What are you doing? What you doing? Do you want to go? Do you want to go? Write these down. Practice them out loud. Use them in your real speech. You don't need to change every sentence, just enough to feel the rhythm of natural English. Technique number 4. Use tongue twisters. They're fun, a little silly, and super useful. Tongue twisters train your mouth muscles to move quickly and clearly. Try these. She sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Say them slowly, then faster. The goal isn't speed at first, it's accuracy. Then, once your mouth gets used to the motion, speed will come naturally. Technique number 5. Speak in chunks. We've talked about this earlier, but it's so important I want to say it again. Don't speak one word at a time. Speak in groups of meaning, chunks. Try. Want to grab lunch? Could you help me out? I've been thinking about it. Your speech will sound smoother, and your brain will process English more like a native speaker does, in full thoughts, not grammar puzzles. Now, let's take a deep breath together. Because here's the part I want you to really hear. None of this works if your mindset isn't right. If you're constantly judging yourself, comparing your English to others, or freezing every time you make a mistake, you'll stay stuck. But if you let go of the fear and treat every conversation as practice, everything changes. Mindset shift number 1. Mistakes equals progress. Every time you speak English and mess up, that's your brain growing. Mistakes are not failures. They're signs that you're stretching beyond your comfort zone, and that's where real improvement happens. Think of kids learning to walk. They fall 1,000 times. They don't give up. And they certainly don't say, I'll never walk perfectly, so I'll just sit forever. You're learning to walk in a new language. Of course you'll fall. That's okay. Mindset shift number 2. You don't need to be perfect. So many learners believe they have to speak like a native speaker to be respected or understood. That's just not true. Fluency is not about accent. It's about connection. It's about being able to say what you mean, understand others, and enjoy the conversation. Your goal is not to sound like someone else. It's to sound like you, but in English. And the best version of you speaks with confidence, warmth, and joy, not fear. Mindset shift number 3. Small steps matter. You don't have to practice for 2 hours a day. You don't need expensive courses or perfect conditions. Just 5 minutes a day can change everything if you're consistent. Do one shadowing sentence. Record 1 minute of speaking. Repeat one chunk 5 times. That's all it takes to build real habits. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now, with what you have, where you are. Let's bring this episode home. Today, we've talked about how to speak fast, clear, and real English. We broke down the why learners struggle, and why real-world English sounds so different from what you learned in school. We explored the how, practical steps like shadowing, recording yourself, speaking in chunks, and practicing real expressions. And we ended with the most important piece, your mindset. If you walk away with anything today, let it be this. You don't have to be perfect to be fluent. Real English is about connection, not perfection, and your voice, your real voice, deserves to be heard. So keep practicing. Speak out loud, even if it's just to yourself. Try new techniques, make mistakes, laugh at yourself, and most importantly, keep showing up. Because every word you speak brings you closer to the confident English speaker you're becoming. This is Emily, and I want to say thank you for spending this time with me. I'm proud of you, and I truly believe in your journey. Until next time, keep speaking fast, clear, and real. And most of all, keep being you. You've been listening to English in Ease, a calm, confident space to grow your English skills every day. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.